What a time to be a Pistons fan. The Pistons are on a 5-game winning streak. They have not yet lost a game in 2025. And only the Oklahoma City Thunder, Cleveland Cavaliers, Sacramento Kings, and Indiana Pacers can make that claim. So tonight, the Pistons beat the Brooklyn Nets 113-98. And for the first time since October 28th last season, when they were 2-1, they have a winning record on the season. They've now won 10 of their last 13 games, and they are rolling right now. It's crazy to say that the Pistons have 5 more wins than they did all last season already, and they've done it in less than half the games. Man, I haven't been this excited to be a Pistons fan in a long time. The level of excitement that I have right now, I think is even more than what I had when the Pistons had Blake Griffin. Because when the Pistons had that team, you knew they had potential to be good, but you knew that they weren't ever going to be contending for a championship. You may have thought they may have won one series, and at their peak, you never really expected them to make a championship run. And although these Pistons are not approaching that currently, you can see that the ceiling is really high for this team. You can see that they are just beginning to scratch the surface, and that all these young guys are buying into what coach is telling them. They're buying into the example that's being set by the vets, and our potential star players are our young guys. When you think about the 2018-2019 Pistons, our best player was Blake Griffin. And when he came here, he was already past his prime. He played great, don't get me wrong. He had a career season, his first season here. But you knew that he was pretty much at the end of his prime, and he was just trying to add things to his game once his athleticism started to fail him. But with this team, our young guys, our best player is just getting started, and the team is winning as well. So I have not been this excited in a long time, and I'm really looking forward to seeing just how far this team can go long term. But let's get into tonight's game. So Asar Thompson missed his 2nd straight game with an illness again. I don't think it's anything to be concerned about. Coach Bickerstaff did say pregame that he was feeling better and that they're going to evaluate him when he get back home. And I don't think it's anything other than just a bug, to be honest. We got to keep in mind, this is flu season, right? We're right in the middle of winter. So I think he may just be in quarantine just to make sure that whatever he has doesn't spread to the rest of the team, especially considering how well the Pistons are playing right now. And tonight's game in Brooklyn was on the road. So things like being on a flight together could increase the risk of other guys getting sick. So I think they just wanted to play it safe. We'll check back in a few days. The Nets, however, were depleted tonight, which is why I fully expected the Pistons to win this game. Notable names that were missing were guys like Cam Johnson, Cam Thomas, former Piston Bojan Bogdanovic, newly acquired D'Angelo Russell, and of course Ben Simmons. So this should have been a game the Pistons should have been motivated to win, to keep the streak alive against a depleted team, and they did just that. The mindset should have been that continuing this streak should override any mental letdowns that could creep into your mind just because you're playing an injury-ridden team. And tonight, they had that mindset. Stack wins, keep improving, build confidence, wash, rinse, and repeat. That's the formula. I was hoping to see Ron start tonight in Asar's place since they play similar roles for this team. And plus, I like keeping Beasley in that 6-man role off the bench while also allowing Tim Hardaway Jr. to play the 2, which would give the Pistons more size in the starting lineup. But they stuck with Bees at the 2 and Tim with the 3 for more shooting and spacing, so I get it. Initial thoughts, right? So like I mentioned, the Pistons took care of business tonight, man. They were the better team, and I could tell they had a certain level of urgency out the gate. I actually tweeted in the first couple of minutes of the game that I thought the Pistons were going to win this game. In the first half, they played solid. It seemed like they were just so eager, though, to get out in transition off of misses that they weren't finishing defensive possessions, and the Nets had a lot of offensive rebounds, and that led to a lot of second chance points for them. Had the Pistons had Asar tonight, he would have had a field day because he's a great rebounder, and he's one of the best finishers in transition. One thing I noticed in tonight's game, too, is that the Pistons' defensive rotations out of the pick and rolls is getting much better. Tonight, you can see as Brooklyn was trying to move the ball out of that, the Pistons were flying around, and the right guys were moving to the right shooters. They were moving on a string defensively, and that was really good to see. That shows that Coach Bickerstaff is really instilling defensive schemes into this team and helping them understand defensive rotations and how to play defense. Let's get to the box. So Cade actually had a quiet game tonight. He didn't have a bad game, just a quiet game. He had 13 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, 1 steal, 4 turnovers, on 6 for 10 shooting, 0 3 from 3, 1 or 2 from the free throw line in 23 minutes. So he didn't play a ton tonight. And honestly, he didn't need to. We had so many contributions from so many different guys tonight. So this was actually good because Cade could kind of coast a little bit as other guys stepped up and took care of business. Speaking of other guys, Malik Beasley, who started again tonight, had 23 points, 5 assists, 2 rebounds, 2 steals, 1 turnover, 9 for 17 shooting, 4 of 11 from 3, 1 of 1 from the free throw line in 33 minutes. So this is the second time now that Malik has had bounce back games after having cold shooting games the night before. It happened after the Hornets game against the Wolves, and it happened again tonight after last game against the Blazers where he didn't shoot it well. He got right back to it. The shot was falling tonight. I say it all the time. Beasley plays the same way. every game. He plays within the flow of the offense. He doesn't take bad shots. He takes shots that are in rhythm. And most nights they're going to fall. And some nights they're not. But as long as he plays the same way every game, consistently, and he has been, I'm good with it. Jalen Duren had 8 points, 9 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks, 1 turnover, on 3 of 5 shooting, 2 of 4 from the free throw line in 22 minutes. So once again, JD didn't play a ton, but he didn't have to because we got so many contributions across the board tonight. But JD did play solid, right? He was active on both ends. He defended the paint fairly well. He's slowly getting better and better. His mindset is starting to become more and more consistent. His bad games are becoming far and fewer in between. A lot of time early in the season, it will be good game, bad game, bad game, good game, good game, bad game, good game. Now he's having more good games and less bad games. So he's slowly getting more consistent with his play. And I think his mental approach to the game is helping him with that because he's focusing on defense. And when the offense is there, then he's looking for it as opposed to trying to force the offense on his own. His help side defense is getting better too. There were a few times tonight where one of our guards would get beat on a backdoor cut and JD would see it and he would hedge and come over just enough on the cutter to prevent that pass for the easy layup. So he's slowly learning. He's slowly improving defensively. It's not going to happen overnight, right? But I love to see his commitment to that end, especially on plays like that one that don't show up on the stat sheet. Tobias Harris had 9 points, 5 assists, 3 rebounds, 2 blocks, 1 turnover, on 4 of 9 shooting, 1 of 3 from 3 in 26 minutes. So once again, our starters didn't do a ton tonight, but it didn't matter because our bench really showed up big for us tonight. It's good to get a win like this when your starters don't have to play a lot of minutes because it allows them to be able to rest their legs a little bit for the next game. We have a back-to-back tomorrow, which I'll get to later. So games like tonight, when you can put teams away early, allow your starters to get rest, can make it easier for the Pistons to perhaps extend that win streak to 6. But we'll come back to that. Finally, Tim Hardaway Jr., 10 points, 3 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 block, 2 turnovers, on 2 of 6 shooting, 2 of 4 from 3. So THJ was solid tonight, man. He knocked down some shots. He actually had a 4-point play in the 4th quarter. So he's been consistently knocking down shots lately. But here's what I love about Tim. He had 26 points last game, but he was bothered by the fact that he didn't do much of anything else. So that just shows that even though he primarily is a scorer for this team, he does want to impact the game in other ways offensively. And then defensively, he did what he always does. He competed. Now let's get to the bench, man. The story of the game. Let's start with Manu Fontecchio. Simone Fontecchio. My boy King actually hit me during the game and text me that, Manu Fontecchio. I wish I could steal that, but that was his, Manu Fontecchio. So shout out to him. Fontecchio has 17 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, 1 turnover, on 7 for 11 shooting, 3 of 5 from 3 in 24 minutes. This was his best game of the season. By far. By far. Great game from Fontecchio. He was in very much a rhythm tonight. And I think what really helped him tonight is, aside from him just playing well, is that the Pistons have more depth than the Nets do right now. With the Nets missing so many guys, once they went to their bench, the Pistons bench just simply outplayed them because our bench is better. Our bench is actually one of our strengths. So we have one of our strengths going against one of their weaknesses. And that's what enabled guys like Fontecchio to be able to take advantage of that. And he did in a major way. He played a very complete game though. He rebounded well. And he did have some nice drives tonight for some nice finishes. I will give him that. And they were very impressive, I must say. But I still don't want him putting the ball on the floor. It worked out well for him tonight, but to be honest, I still just want to see him catching and shooting 90% of the time. That's just where I feel he's best. And even tonight, even though he was doing other things, when he was catching and shooting, it was money. Again. So I still want to primarily see him doing that pretty much all the time, along with running the floor and getting easy looks for threes or getting run-out dunks or layups. But great game from Fontecchio. Tonight, he looked like to me for the first time the Fontecchio that I was really excited about at the end of last season after watching him play. So if he's able to keep up something similar to this level of play, it's going to help the Pistons bench so much more. Another guy had the best game of his season. Marcus Sasser had 15 points, 3 assists, 1 rebound, and 1 turnover on 5 for 9 shooting, 5 or 7 from 3 in 22 minutes. So as you guys know, I've had my eye on Marcus Sasser for a while since Jaden went down because that would mean that he would get extended time. And we know that usually when K goes to the bench, Jaden becomes the point guard. But with him out, the Pistons' only true natural point guard is Cade. So I've been watching Sasser to see how he adapts to this role because like I mentioned, Sasser is not a point guard. Sasser is a bucket. And tonight, he was a bucket. He had back-to-back threes in the second quarter. He had a few more in the fourth quarter. He was able to get to the rim. He was doing it all tonight, but it was all based off of looking for his offense. Being a Vinnie Johnson microwave bad boys type of player for this team. That's what we need from him, and that's what he was tonight. And like I mentioned, when K goes to the bench, there isn't a traditional point guard on the court with Sasser. So tonight, it looked like when he was in the game, the Pistons shared the ball handling responsibility between guys like Beasley, Tim Hardaway Jr., and even Tobias at times. And when the ball would rotate back to Sasser, that's when he would look for his offense, and that's when he would look to attack. And it worked out well. I think that was a great adjustment made by JB Bickerstaff. It seemed like early on, the Pistons tried to give him a shot playing point guard, but he's just not a point guard. So they made the adjustment of kind of having other guys collectively share that load, and he benefited from that. So two guys who I have been waiting to see finally got some run tonight. They didn't do much, but we got a chance to see him. The first guy, obviously, is Bobby Klintman. You guys know I have been waiting to see this man play for months, since Summer League. But unfortunately, he had a right calf contusion that kept him out well into the season. In the past few weeks, he's been ramping up with the Motor City Cruise, and he's been playing very, very well for them. So I was really anxious and really just hoping to see if he was going to get some time tonight with the Pistons winning this game in blowout fashion. And he got 4 minutes. He didn't have any points, no shots, and he had 2 rebounds. I was hoping the Pistons were going to let him just do his thing. I mean, the game was over. It looked like he was a little bit passive out there, just trying to get his feet wet and just kind of get into the game flow. But I would have loved to see him get a few shots up. But it's cool. It was just really nice to get some eyes on him, just to see how he looks on the court. And I suspect as the season continues to progress, you're going to see more and more of Bobby Klintman, and I'm here for it. I'm really excited to watch him play this season and to see how he fits on his team. I still do think he has potential to be the stretch forward for this Pistons team long term. So we'll see. The other guy I wanted to see was Dennis Jenkins, right? The backup point guard for the Pistons who splits time between the Pistons and the Motor City Cruise. And he also didn't play much. He had 3 minutes. He did take 2 shots. They were tough threes. Both of them looked good, but they didn't go down. But I really want to see him get more time. I really think he could be a player that could help the Pistons in that backup role to help a guy like Marcus Sasser to get his shot off. I really think the Pistons need to give him an opportunity. What I saw from him in Summer League showed me a lot about his game, his style of play. He plays good defense. He plays team defense. He plays hard. He goes full tilt all game. He's hungry. He's scrappy. And he's a good player. So I think the Pistons should give him another look in the coming games. But the Pistons played well overall. They shot 52% from the field overall. They shot 40% from 3. They just played a really solid game tonight. And it was really good to see the Pistons make this trip strictly a business trip. Don't play around. Don't play with your food. Win the games you're supposed to win, especially when you have a winning streak, right? This could have easily been a trap game, but the Pistons came locked in and loaded, and we're ready to go. So this group is showing a lot of maturity. And I think guys like Tobias Harris, Tim Hardaway Jr., and Malik Beasley, guys who are vets and guys who are professional, can make sure the young guys are locked and loaded as well. And tonight, it showed. One more guy to highlight, and this is not a player. JB Bickerstaff. I absolutely love JB Bickerstaff. This dude protects his players and goes to bat for his players unlike any other Pistons coach I've seen since Larry Brown 20 years ago. When was the last time you've seen any Pistons barking at referees and getting texts? It's been a while, right? That's because JB Bickerstaff is all over the referees. There were 2 instances tonight where I could literally hear him clear as day yelling at the referees. The first time it was a ticky-tack foul on Tim Hardaway Jr. He was just trying to guard the guy. And when the ref blew the whistle, Coach said, "Come on, you haven't blown your whistle all night and you're going to blow it on that?" In another instance, he said, we got kids watching. He said, "Soft A call. You don't even let them play basketball anymore." And he shook his head. As a player, when you hear that, you don't have to say anything. It allows you to just lock back in on the game. And that's very, very important because a few days ago, Cade actually admitted that he and his teammates in the past spent way too much energy barking at the officials. And JB does a great job of being the voice for the players. And that's exactly what you want. When you know you have a coach that is going to go to bat for you and fight for you, you can just focus on basketball. And coach is making it so much easier for his players to do that than the previous coach. And I'll leave it at that. So guys, I know it's early, but the way the Pistons have been playing of late, it does have me looking at the playoff picture. The Pistons are currently in 8th place in the Eastern Conference. To make the play-in, you have to be a top 10 team in your conference. Only the Philadelphia 76ers, who are currently outside of that 10, have a shot to crack that top 10 in my opinion. They're the only team with enough talent to move up, and that's only if they're able to get and stay healthy. I personally think the Nets, the Hornets, the Raptors, and Wizards are all in tank mode. So at worst, I have the Pistons in the 10th spot, at worst. But I think if things go right for them, they can move up as far as 6. And I gotta shout my boy AB out, Ashton, because he's been saying for I don't know how long now, 6 seed, 6 seed, 6 seed. So we'll see, bro. You may have hit with that one. We gotta wait and see. But as of right now, it's not too far-fetched, and it could very well happen. Question for you guys. The next 5 games are against the Warriors at home, tomorrow night in the back-to-back, the Raptors at home, the Knicks on the road, the Pacers at home, and the Suns at home. Based on the upcoming schedule, how far do you think this current 5-game winning streak will extend? Let me know. Also, What did you guys see in tonight's game that I may have missed? Let's talk about it. Appreciate you hanging with your boy. And as always, Detroit versus everybody. Peace.
Let's go! Dress up, bless up, step up and get it. Lace up, face up, I'm here to win it. It's for my city, and the team coming with me. Headed for the championship, even if the road is long. Legends pave the way for us. Legends, nothing in this world can take it from us. Don't